grade, today we're reviewing for our science test tomorrow. So you need your science review sheet. Looks like this. We're going to use some information from our book. This is actually very similar to what's on your book on page 30, but I'll kind of walk you through it and let you know where you need your book, and where you don't. All right? Make sure you get your name on the top, and let's get going. Third grade, notice I've got my name at the top. Directions say follow along with our review video on Google Classroom as you prepare for your test tomorrow. We've got our vocabulary words right here. First word is deciduous. That was on page 14 of our textbook. So if I look at page 14, I will find what deciduous means. Next was coniferous, then extinct, fossil, germinate, pollinate, seed leaf, seedling, and system. Number 1, when conditions are right, a seed will start to grow, or what means start to grow? Which one of those vocab words? Well, if we look at lesson 4 taught us how new plants grow. So I'm going to look for a vocab word. I don't see any. Sorry, dropped a marker. Don't see any over here. Oh! Right temperature start to grow. Seeds need air, the right amount of water, and the right temperature to start to grow or germinate. So germinate is the word we're looking for. So for letter 1, number 1, conditions are right, seed will start to grow or germinate. A tree that makes cones is what type of tree? Well, there are two types of tree. We're deciduous and coniferous. Which one has the word cone right in it? Right here, coniferous. Coniferous trees make cones. Bees, wind, and water can what flowers? What did that mean? What did the bees, the wind, and the water do? Remember, that was pollination, right? Bees, wind, and water, that pollinated a flower. All the leaves and their parts make up a plant's leaf. What? That was right at the start of our chapter. That was a leaf system, right? We had the leaf and all its different parts. That makes up the system that works together to help support the plant. A blank tree loses all its leaves in the fall. That's a deciduous tree. Deciduous tree loses all its leaves in the fall. A new plant that has just grown out of the soil is a seedling. All right, just grown out of the soil, that's a seedling. A new plant uses food stored in that would be our seed leaf. The little seed leaf is what stores that food. And then a blank plant no longer lives on Earth, but a blank of its remains might be found. So if it no longer lives on Earth, remember that's an extinct plant. And then a fossil of its remains might be found. And we can find fossils of things that lived long ago. Number 9 kind of goes with that. How do scientists learn about plants that are extinct? Well, what do? They look at fossils, right? They study fossils to learn more. Number 10, explain why all of a plant's roots and their parts are called a system. Right? Well, the roots and their parts work together to help the plant survive. Right? So that's a system. Things working together to help things survive. And then 11, what do a plant's leaves need to make sugar? That was back in lesson lesson number 1, we had that the plant needed air, water, and sunlight. All right, so air, water, and sunlight. Air, water, and sunlight. When you're done there, we're going to go ahead and flip it over to the back. At the top, we're going to compare and contrast plants and animals. So things that are specific to just plants would go on the outside. Things that are specific to just animals would go here. And then things that are the same would go in the middle. Now, right at the beginning of our chapter, we learned that all living things need food, air, water, and space to grow. Need food, air, water, and space. So that's going to be the first one I put for both of them. And then let's talk about food, right? Plants can make their own food. Animals need to find their food. They can't make their own food with their bodies like plants can with their stems and their roots and their leaves. Think of one more for all of those. How are plants and animals the same? That would go right here. What's something that's just a plant that makes it different from an animal? And then what's something that's just for an animal that makes it different from a plant? Multiple choice. Before a seed can become a plant, a seed must germinate, be pollinated, make food, or flower. Before a seed can become a plant, what does it have to do? Well, it becomes a plant, it's got to germinate, right? It's got to germinate first. It's got to start to grow. To do that, it needs the air, the right amount of air, water, sunlight. And number 13, a cactus stores most of its water where? Well, it stores most of its water in its stem. Right? In its stem is where a cactus stores most of that water. Excellent. Now, tomorrow when we have our test, I would recommend having your review out. I would recommend having your book out. Right? You got all that stuff at home, so use it. Use your resources and make sure that you're double checking all your answers for your test tomorrow.